Hello everyone, Zaid from zSecurity here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to create your own hacking operating system. Recently, I made a video on the best hacking operating systems. We spoke about Kali, Parrot, and all of the other hacking operating systems, about their features, what they're good for, and the conclusion, in my opinion, the best is to create your own hacking operating system. You guys loved that video. I can see from the views and from the likes, and in the comments, a lot of you requested that I make a video to show you how to create your own hacking operating system. The only reason that I delayed this video, to be honest with you, because it was very difficult for me to organize how I'm going to cover all of this in one video, because this is a huge topic, and if I had it my way, I would actually make a full course on it to cover it properly. But we recently hit 100,000 subscribers. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much for that. And as a way of saying thank you, I'm first of all giving a free course in our giveaways as usual. So use the link in the description to opt in. And I'm also making this really long and detailed video on how to create your own hacking operating system. Now, I try to cover as much information as possible for a video without making it boring and with covering the basic and most important stuff. From here, you can go ahead and expand on it yourself. And I actually had to kind of fly over a few things without talking about them in details. I am running commands quickly because, like I said, it's a single video. If you do not understand anything, then Google is your best friend. Look up the things that you don't understand. And trust me, there are lots of resources about everything that I'm covering. So you should be able to get good and useful answers. Also, if you don't already know, we're actually running our first hacking competition this Sunday coming. The winner at first place will get $100 in cash. Second and third will get a free course and a free 1-month VPN. So check it out on our website, zSecurity/competition. I actually already announced this on our social media, but I wasn't able to post it here because of the strike we got. So follow us on our social media to always stay updated with the latest. In case we get a strike here, you'll always be able to see what we're doing there and follow everything that we do. Don't forget to like the video to show us some love. This really helps push the video to more people that are interested in it and helps the channel. This video did take me a lot, so it'll be great if you guys show us love. Smash the like button, comment and let me know what you think of it, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with the latest. And let's go with the video. So the first thing that we'll need to install is VirtualBox. VirtualBox is a program that allows us to install virtual machines on our main operating system. You can install VirtualBox on Windows, Linux, and OS X, and using it is exactly the same. So I'm going to be using it on OS X, but you can use and follow the exact same steps that I'm going to show you, and everything should work the same. So first of all, you'll need to download it from their website right here. I just looked up VirtualBox on Google. You get the website, and as you can see in here, we have the download links for Windows, OS X, and Linux. One click, this will download it for you, and then double click next to install it. I'm not spending time on this because this is very simple, and if you find this challenging, then you should really skip this video because we're gonna do more difficult stuff in here. Like I said, I could make a full course on this, and I'm trying to do everything in one video, so I'm sorry if I'm running quickly over things. If you don't understand anything, either Google it or go do some research and come back to this video. So we're assuming you have VirtualBox installed. Oh, and if you're doing any of my courses, I show how to install VirtualBox and all that, so you should already have that installed as well. So once we have VirtualBox installed, the next step is to try and find out a Linux distro that you really like and you want to use as a template to build your own distro on it. So in this example, we're going to be using Debian. Debian is the distro that Kali and Parrot OS, both of the most popular hacking operating systems, are built on. And I actually really do like Debian. It's very reliable and very stable. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to install a clean Debian Linux with no programs on it, with no hacking tools on it, and then we're going to modify it to the specs that we like. So again, we're going to go on Google and we're going to say download Debian. First link. And as you can see, we have a number of options in here. You can either download an installation image or you can download the complete installation image, and you can even look for a live image, which will allow you to get a feel of what the operating system looks like without installing it. So you'll be able to simply boot straight away into the operating system, see what it works like, how it feels, and then if you like it, install it. But we're not going to do that because we already used Debian before. So I'm assuming you've already done your research on the different Linux distros, you've tried them, and you've seen which one fits you best, and you made your decision to go with Debian like I did. So what I'm going to do right here is simply download the installation one, and we're going to download the 64-bit version because I have a 64-bit computer. I already have it downloaded, so if I go to my file manager, it's in my downloads and it's in a directory called Debian ISO, and this is the file right here. Now it's important to show you where it is. It's in my download and in Debian ISO because we're going to need it for the next step. So the next step is we're going to go and import this machine into our VirtualBox. We're going to install it as a virtual machine, and then we're going to modify it. And once we're done with the modification, we're going to export it and then reuse it as much as we want. So now the next step is to go to our VirtualBox, which we installed in the first step. So we're going to go to Machine and click on New. You're going to get the new machine creation wizard. Very, very simple. So it's asking you for the name of the machine. You can pick any name you want, since this is going to be your own version of Linux, of your hacking distro. So I wasn't sure what to call this. I thought about a popular one, Parrot OS. Lots of operating systems are called after animals. I like owls, so I'm going to call this Owl. And if we just call it Owl, it's kind of boring. So we're going to call it Snowy Owl. So then we're going to say this type of this machine is Linux, and the version is going to be Debian 64 because we downloaded a Debian 64. We're going to click and continue. It's going to ask you how much memory you want to allocate to this virtual machine. I'm going to give it 4 gigabytes of memory, but you could get away with 2. That should be fine. We're going to create a virtual hard disk for this machine. So we're going to keep this to the default. We're going to make this the expandable one, the dynamically allocated one. So when you set the size here, and I'm going to set it, say, for example, for 24, that means it will not take 24 gigabytes of the storage that you have. It will actually only expand up to 24 if it needed to. So if you actually needed to use that much space. So we're going to click on Create. And that's done. That's created right here, the virtual machine. Now we haven't installed anything on it. We simply created a virtual machine entry on our VirtualBox. We set the specs of this machine, but we haven't installed an operating system on it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to start this machine. And as soon as we started, as you can see in here, it's telling me where do I want to boot from, because we still haven't installed anything. So we're going to click on this here, this icon, and we're going to click on add to add a disk image to boot from. And as I said, mine is stored in Debian ISO, and this is the ISO image that we downloaded. So if you are going to install this as a main operating system, you would have to burn this to a USB stick or to a CD or DVD and then boot from it. What we're doing right now is pretty much the same. We're actually going to boot from a virtual CD drive. So we're selecting the image that we want to boot from. We're going to click on Open and we're going to choose and Start. Okay, so close this right here. And as you can see now, you have a number of options. You can go with the graphical install, which will help you install it using a graphical interface, or you can go with the normal install and other few advanced options. We're going to go with the graphical install because it's the easiest and it actually does the job. So we're going to keep the language at English. We're going to keep it at United States. We're going to keep that as American English. Now it's asking us for the hostname for this image. Again, we called it Snowy Owl, so we can just call it Owl for here, or you can even call it Snowy Owl if you want, that's fine. We're going to continue. It's asking you for the domain name. We'll keep that as the default. And now it's asking you for the root password. Now the root is the user on the system that has the highest privileges, so it can do anything it wants on the system. That's why it's actually kind of dangerous to log in as root and do stuff as root, because you can simply destroy the system if you don't know what you're doing. At the same time, lots of hacking tools require root. That's why you actually will need to run a lot of programs as root. And when you're installing stuff on the system, obviously you need to be as root. So it's very important to remember this password, but remember, this will not be the user that you log in with. This will only be used when you want to perform administrative tasks. So in our case, it's asking us for the password right now. So I'm just going to set it to whatever I want. And then it's going to ask us for the user full name. So this is just the name of the user. So we're just going to set this to Zaid in my case. And then it's asking me for my username. This is the username that you log in with. So when you boot the system and it asks you for a username and a password, this will be the username that you will use to log in, not the root. So you can set whatever username you want in here. I'm setting it to Zaid. And then it's asking you for the password for this username. So this is not the root password. This is not the admin password. This is the admin that you will use when you want to log in to the system. Again, I'll put whatever password I want in here. We're going to keep the time the way it is. And now it's asking you, how do you want to partition your disk? We're going to keep this the way it is, keeping everything to the default. And now it's asking us, do we want to commit to these changes? We're going to say yes and click on continue. And right now it's installing the systems and all of the needed files. So give it some time. This might take a bit of time. Now it's asking us if we want to use any other CD or DVD to scan for applications and software. We're going to say no. And it's asking us for the country because it's going to select a mirror to pull programs from. And we're going to keep that to the United States and keep it to this mirror. That's fine. And then it's asking us if we need to use a proxy. We're not doing any of that. We're not using a proxy. So we're going to continue with the way it is. And now it's going to fetch the mirror that we picked and see whatever available applications. And then we're going to go ahead and install these applications. Keep in mind the image that we downloaded is the minimal image. So if you remember, the size of it was 350. That's why you actually need internet connection to be able to fully install this image, because it'll need to download software from the internet. And that's why it's asking us for our location and for a mirror to pull programs from. So now it's asking us, do we want to share information to help improve? We're going to say no, we don't want to do that. And now it's showing us the list of available applications that we can install with Debian. Now keep in mind, we're going to install more applications later on once Debian is fully installed, but this is just the basic application that we need to install with the operating system. The main one being the graphical user interface. And as you can see, we have a number of options in here. You can go and do your own research and see which one you like the most, but I like GNOME the most, and that's why I'm going to tick that. I'm also going to tick that I want a web server with this, because that's very useful with so many things that we do if you want to learn hacking or if you are already a hacker. We're going to keep the printer server. You might need an SSH server depending on what you want to do. For me, I don't need that, so I'm not going to tick that. And we're going to keep the standard system utilities. And like I said, keep in mind when you click on continue, these will be downloaded from the internet. So you need to have internet access for the next step to work. This might take longer than the previous step because, like I said, you're going to have to download these programs first and then install them. So again, be patient with it, give it its time. We're going to obviously speed up the video or pause, and we'll resume once this is done. Okay, so now it's trying to install Grub, which will help you log in to your installation. So since we're installing this as a virtual machine, we can install Grub and have it as the main manager, the main boot manager. And we're going to select the the drive that we have there, the partition that we installed Linux on, as the boot partition. And we're going to continue. And as you can see now, it's telling us the installation is complete. So we can basically restart now and log in to our brand new, fresh Debian install. So we're going to click on continue. And that will basically automatically restart and boot into the new Debian operating system that we installed. I'm just going to hit enter here to boot into it. We're going to close this. And perfect. As you can see, now it's giving you the username as Zaid and not root, because like I said, this is the username that we will be logging in with. And we're going to hit enter to log in with it. And I'm going to put my password. And perfect. As you can see, I have my nice fresh installation of Debian with GNOME. So this is an unmodified version of GNOME, very fresh with nothing, no changes at all. I'm going to go into full screen in here. And as you can see, it's going to look weird, but that's fine because we need to modify the screen size. So we're going to right click, go to display settings. And I'm just going to move this around. This doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. So we'll just have to work around it. And we're going to select the resolution that we want. And what I want is 1920 by 1200. Going to click on apply. And perfect. As you can see now, the screen is full screen and it's looking proper. Now, you could also install the VirtualBox guest editions that would allow you to automatically go on full screen and resize the window. It'll allow you to have copy paste global between the host machine and the virtual machine. It'll give you lots of nice features. I'm not going to cover that, but I'm going to include a link in the description that shows you how to do that. The reason for this is because right now we are at the stage where you can spend hours, days, or months modifying your installation of Linux, because now we have a fresh installation and whatever changes you make will be stored, and I'm going to show you how to export it later on and maintain these changes. Therefore, you could make a few changes and export it and call that your hacking operating system, or you could spend months modifying everything in it and customizing it to the core, and then obviously that'll take you much longer time. So there is no way for me to show you all of the changes that you could make, and like I said, I could make a full course if I wanted to do that. What I really want to show you is, first of all, show you how to modify some of the basic stuff just so that you get the idea of how everything will be stored. Then I'm going to show you how to install programs and packages, because this is the main thing that we want to do, and this is the main thing what the other operating systems, hacking operating systems, do. And then I'm going to show you how to clean up and export this. So first of all, I know this is not an important task and I know this is very simple, but let's go ahead and literally just change the background in here so that it reflects our hacking operating system. So right click, change background. And I want to select a background that has a snowy owl. So first of all, I'm going to open up my Firefox and we're going to go to Google and we're going to look for a snowy owl. Go on images and let's select a nice picture. I like this one right here. Open it. And we're gonna save it, and I'll just save it in my pictures, save, and that's done. So now we can go to the background and select that from the pictures, and we'll do the same with the lock screen as well. So now when we try to log into the lock screen, it'll show us this picture. So now we've made the first modification to our operating system. So like I said, you can go crazy with this. You can modify the theme, you can modify the icons, you can add the application menus in here on the top like Kali Linux does. So all they're doing is they're simply installing icons, themes, and changing the colors. You can do that too if you wanted to. Again, it'll take a bit of time, but you can do it. Even if you don't know, Google it. How to change themes on GNOME, on Debian, how to install icons. And there's websites that give you themes and all kinds of things, and I'll actually link them in the description as well. So once you're happy with that, the next step is to go ahead and install the needed applications. And like I said, this can take a very long time, but we're just going to show you some of the basics. So the first thing that I want to show you is the software manager that comes with Debian. Now, if you picked another Linux distro, you will probably have a different kind of application, probably similar name. It's different icon, different way to search, but the idea is the same. It's a program that allows you to install other programs, similar to the Play Store or the App Store on your phone. So we'll move this out of the way for a bit. We're going to go to activities. And as you can see, because we're using GNOME, we get this really nice dock here on the left. Again, you can configure this the way you want. So we can actually right click and remove some of the stuff that we don't want. For example, we can remove the help. We can remove this, the documents. We can remove the rhythm box. This is a audio application. Remove the email as well. We're just keeping stuff that is related to ethical hacking and cybersecurity. So we're moving that too. We're just keeping a file manager, the software center, and Firefox for now, and we will add more applications later on. So for now, let's click on the software manager, and we're going to click on Let's Go Shopping. And as you can see, very simple. It has a number of categories that you can use to select what applications you want to install. And you can actually click on the search in here to search for applications. So there is a program that I really like. It's a terminal program, but it allows you to split the terminal into a number of windows. If you use my courses, you see that's the first thing I usually install. So it's called Terminator. So if I look for it here, as you can see, it's showing up as the first one. And all I need to do is click on it. It'll give you a description about it, some screenshots. Again, very similar to whatever package manager you've used on your phone or on other applications, on other operating systems. And we're just going to click on install to install it. It's going to ask you for the root password. So this is the password of the admin, remember, not your user password. So I'm going to put it. And that's it, installed. So we can click on launch to start it, or you can close this and go to the activities again, click on the more applications, and you should find it in here in the list of programs. And we actually have it right here. So we could do, because I like this program, I'm going to right click it and add to favorites. It's going to show up here on the left. And now, like I said, any changes I'm making, they will be stored once I export this machine. So when I start it, the next time when I install it, it's going to come up with this background. It's going to come up with Terminator pre-installed. So again, any applications that I'm going to install, any configurations I'm going to make, they will be maintained. That's why it's very, very cool. So if we go back to the software manager, now the software manager is actually really nice to install main applications. So stuff like Terminator or Firefox or Chrome or, picture editors, photo editing, that kind of stuff. If you want to install hacking programs, you probably will not see all of them in the software manager. And therefore, you will actually have to go to the terminal and use whatever package manager that comes with your Linux distro. Now, because we're using Debian, the package manager that it comes with is apt or apt-get, because I'm ancient and I like to use apt-get. So we're going to close this, and I'm going to show you the basics of using apt-get to search for applications and install them. So we're going to open up our terminal, and we're just going to zoom in a little bit. And before using this package manager, remember, when we had to install a program, we had to put the root password. So we had to be the highest user on the system. That's why now, because we want to start searching and installing applications, we actually need to use this terminal as root. Because now if I do ID, you'll see that I am logged in as Zaid and I'm not root. So I need to become root. And to do that, we're gonna do sudo su. And we're going to put the root password. And this didn't work. And that happens. So there's different ways of becoming root on the different Linux distros. You can try this if you are on Red Hat or Fedora. This should work. So in my case, I need to do su root maybe. Put the password. And yes, I am root now. So if I do ID, you'll see that I am root, and I can basically do all the tasks that the root user is allowed to do, and basically I can do anything I want on the system, including installing applications, which is what I want to do right now. So we're clearing the screen, and we're gonna do apt-get update first. Now, you might think that this is updating my system, but it's actually not updating the system. What this is doing is it's updating the list of sources that the system can pull packages from. So we haven't updated the system yet. We're just updating what applications and packages we can install. And now that that's done, let's search for the applications that we want to install first before installing them. So a program that you cannot install from the software center, for example, is aircrack-ng. So let's first of all double check that we actually can install aircrack-ng. So what we're going to do is we're going to do apt cache this time to search for packages. And the package that we want to search for is called aircrack. I know the name of the package is aircrack-ng, but I'm just assuming that I don't know the name of the package and I want to search for it. So I'm saying I want to search for a package that contains the word aircrack. We're going to hit enter and we're going to get some results right here. So as you can see, we have aircrack-ng, which is what I want. It's a wireless WEP and WPA cracking utilities. We can also see that the name aircrack appears in other packages, such as this one, airgraph-ng, Kismet, and Wi-Fi. So I don't want any of these. I only want aircrack-ng, and therefore to install it, I'm going to do apt-get install aircrack-ng. With the install command, you can actually put any number of packages you want, and the command will actually install all of them. So other really useful hacking applications that pretty much all hacking operating systems come with, and pretty much all hackers need and use, are Wireshark, Nmap, and let's install Zenmap, which is the graphical user interface of Nmap. Let's install SQLmap, and you can pretty much put any other packages that you want. Like I said, you can use the apt cache to search for the packages, and then apt-get install to install them. Keep in mind, you might not find all of the programs this way. We will talk about that later on. For example, I still want to install Burp Suite and Metasploit framework, but I cannot find them. I cannot install them using the package manager like this. We're going to have to go and install them manually. We'll talk about that later on. But for now, these are the commands that I want to install. Like I said, you can add or remove some of these. It really depends on you. So I'm going to hit enter to install this. It's going to give you a summary of everything that will be installed, how much of your storage will be occupied. We're going to hit enter to install it. As the installation goes, you might see some windows asking you to configure certain parts of the packages being installed. There's no way I can basically cover all variations of these settings that you will get. So pretty much read what you get and go with it. For this, we're going to say it's okay, and we don't want the non-user users to be able to sniff packets. So we're going to say no to that. Give it its time to configure all the packages now. And that's it. That is fully installed right now. So we're going to clear the screen. We're going to type clear. And then we can test some of the programs that we installed. So let's see if we can start Wireshark. And I am in root, so I can't start it. So let's split the screen and start Wireshark. And perfect. As you can see, the program is working no problem. So that's perfect. Now let's try to test another program. Let's do nmap-help. And perfect. That works as well as expected. You can test for SQLmap, for example. And that's working as well. So now we have some of the most important hacking programs already installed. Now you can use apt-get to actually install a lot of different types of programs. So I cannot really cover them all. This really depends on what programs you want to install. You might not even want the ones that I just installed myself. So the main idea is apt-cache to search, apt-get install to install the packages, and do that to install as many packages as you want. Now, if you try to install something that doesn't exist, so let's say I want to install, or let's say apt-cache to search for, and let's say you want to search for Metasploit. And I forgot to type search. You will see that there is no package that contains the Metasploit framework. The only package that we can see is recon-ng. So therefore, when you try to install something with apt-get and you cannot find it, the only option that you have is Google. So you can go and Google how to install Metasploit on Debian, or you can just go to their website and they might actually give you good instructions. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to Google and I'm going to look for Metasploit framework. If I can spell it properly. Anyway, autocorrect is great, and we're going to go to Metasploit. And what we want to do is we want to download the open source one, the free one. And as you can see, it's already giving you the Linux command that you need to run to install it. So that's perfect. Now, do not just copy and paste commands if you don't know what they do. So we can see the first command is a curl command. So that means it's going to download something, and it's going to download something from this link. And it's basically the Metasploit installer. And then it's going to change its permissions with the chmod command, and then it's going to run it by doing // followed by the installer name. How did I know this? Because I've been using Linux for a little bit now. Now, if you don't know it, again, you go on Google, you search every single one of these commands and make sure they're not doing anything harmful to your computer. So I'm going to select all of this. We're going to copy it. We're going to clear the screen here, and we're going to paste it. Hit enter, and you get an error. The error says curl is command. The curl command is not found. So basically your system does not understand what curl is. Like I said, curl is a command that allows you to download stuff from the internet. So if we don't have it, what do? We're going to try to install it with apt-get. So we're going to do apt-get install curl. So you could have done apt-cache to search for it, but I'm just going to do apt-get install. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's going to give me an error. So we're going to hit enter. As you can see, it's actually installing it for me. So we're going to clear the screen and run the exact same command that we just copied. But now we have curl, so it shouldn't complain about it. So enter, and perfect. As you can see now, it's downloading the program, and it's going to run the installer once the download is complete. And perfect, now the installation is complete. So we're going to clear this, and let's try to run Metasploit. So we'll just do MSF console. Give it some time to run. And perfect, here we go. We're inside the framework. We can do help to see how to use it, and we can go ahead and start using it. So that's Metasploit installed, and that is the first example of how to install programs manually. We went to their website, we followed the instructions, and it worked. Next example, let's try to install Burp Suite. This is a very useful program in so many cases, but it's especially useful for web application penetration testing. So again, we're going to go on Google. Now you could try to install it with apt-get. It's not going to work. So you're going to have to go to Google. And let's close that tab. And we're going to look for Burp Suite. And I actually spelled it correctly this time, so that's great. So we're going to go with the community edition right here. And we're going to click on download the latest version. It's going to allow you to pick what you want. So we want the Burp Suite community for Linux 64 bits. That's what we have. So we're not going to change any of that. And we're just going to click on download. And we're going to save this file. This will go to our download. So we're going to click on OK. And you can see it's being downloaded in here. And we're just going to open the location where it's downloaded at. And as you can see, we have it right here. So let's close this. And we're going to go back to our terminal right here. And I'm just going to do exit to go back to my normal user, Zaid, not the root. Because like I said, you want to do stuff as the normal user unless you have to be root. So we're going to go, we can do pwd to see our current working directory, and we are in home Zaid. We can do ls to see all of the directories and files, and we can see these are all the files and directories we have. And we want to go to the downloads because that's where we downloaded Burp Suite installer. So we're going to do cd downloads to go there. And if we list, you'll see we have the installer right here. We're going to change its permissions to executable by doing chmod +x followed by the file name, and we can do bu tab to autocomplete the full name. So now when we do ls, you'll see it's green, which means that it's an executable. So we're gonna do ./ followed by the name, hit enter, and that will load a very nice installer, as you can see, similar to what you get in Windows and other really easy operating systems. So we're gonna click on next. It's gonna tell you where you want to install it. We're gonna keep it to the default. Next, next, next. It's gonna show you this warning. Now, it's a good idea to actually copy this command and paste it in case you actually get the error that they're explaining here and run it. But we're not going to get it. So we're going to click on continue. We're going to click on finish, and that is done. So if we go to our activities and go on more applications, we should see Burp Suite in here. As you can see, it's right there. So I'm going to right click it and add it to my favorites. Now it's going to be here on the left all the time, and I can just click on it now to run it. And as you can see, the program is going to run as expected, and we can use it for, like I said, website application testing. You can do it actually for so many other applications. Very useful program. So you'll probably want to install this on your hacking operating system. So that's another example of manually installing your programs. I want to give you two more examples of manual installation. So the next one is a program that I actually also use a lot in my courses, BetterCap, very useful for Wi-Fi, for network penetration testing in general. So again, we're going to go to our Firefox. We're going to go to Google. And we're going to search for the program that we want to install, which is BetterCap in this case. We're going to go to their website, the first website, and we're going to click on installation. They're actually teaching you how to install it. So as you can see, with any program that we want to install, there is always installation steps. So all you have to do is simply Google the application, look at the steps, follow the steps. If you don't understand the steps, look up the individual steps or what they mean. It's as simple as that, guys. You just need to put time and effort into this. So you can see here in the installation, first of all, it's telling you that you can download the precompiled binaries. So that means these are basically files that are already compiled and ready to run. The only thing you need to make sure is you have the dependencies right here. If you have them, the binaries will work. You won't really need to install anything. So let's go ahead and download the binaries first. And if they don't work, we'll get back to the dependencies. So we can see the latest version here is 2.28. We're simply just going to scroll, and you can see there's different variations of it depending on your operating system. Now we have a Linux AMD 64. Remember, when we downloaded the Linux, we selected the 64-bit version because we have a 64-bit computer. So we're going to click on this version, and we're going to save it. It's already downloaded. Again, we're going to open it in the file manager. And we have it right here. Now this is a zip file, so you'll have to extract it. Right click and extract here. And we have the actual binary of BetterCap right here. So if we want to run this, we will have to go to downloads, this directory, and then run it. So we're already in the downloads in here. So we're just going to open up the BetterCap directory. If we list, we will have the binary. And as you can see, it's already in green. So we do not need to change its permissions like we did with the Burp Suite installer. So we can run this straight away. So // followed by the name, which is BetterCap, enter. And as you can see, you get an error, and the error is libnetfilterq is not installed. It cannot be found. So if we go back to the installation steps, you will see that it actually told us that this is a precompiled binary, so it doesn't need to be installed. You just need to make sure that you have the following dependencies. And as you can see, the third dependency is libnetfilterq. So let's copy this and go back. And remember, what was the first method of installation packages? It was apt-get. So we're going to clear the screen. We're going to become root. And, or su root, sorry. And then we're going to use apt cache, like we said before. And we're going to search for libnetfilterq. We're going to hit enter. And I forgot to type the word search like I did previously. And perfect. As you can see, we have 3 different packages here: the development version, the debug version, and the actual package or the actual library. So we're going to copy this and we're going to install it again by doing apt-get install, followed by the library name. We're going to hit enter. That's going to install it for us, fully installed now. So we're going to exit to go back to our normal user. We're going to clear the screen, ls again, because I forgot the name of the program that I want to run. It's bettercap, so /bettercap. And it's simply complaining because we're not root. So again, we're going to have to go back to being root. And we're going to run it by doing /bettercap. And perfect. Now the program runs as expected. Now, the only problem with this program right now is you have to come to this location to downloads bettercap and then run bettercap every time you want to use this program. You cannot simply use it like any other program from any other location. Let me just show you what I mean. So if I just split the screen here and let's go to our default directory. So we're going to do cd root. So su root first. And let's try to run bettercap. You'll see that it's telling you bettercap command is not found. So what I want to do is I actually want to be able to run bettercap from any location I want, similar to the way I can run the programs that I installed with apt-get. So if I do aircrack-ng like I did before, I can actually run it from anywhere I want. So I want to do that with bettercap. And to do that, we simply have to put bettercap in a specific location on the operating system where the operating system runs or loads the command binaries. Now, this could be slightly different depending on what Linux distro you picked. So the best way to do this is run the where is command. So it's going to say where is aircrack-ng. So we're running the where is command on a valid command that works. So we're saying where is aircrack-ng is stored. And I misspelled aircrack-ng obviously. So we're going to fix it. And as you can see, it's telling you it's stored in user bin and the name of the file is aircrack-ng. So all I have to do is put bettercap in user bin and then I'll be able to run bettercap from any location that I want. So let's do that. We're already in the location where bettercap is stored here, and I'm going to use the cp command to copy it, and I'm going to copy it to usr bin. And I forgot to say what I want to copy. So I want to do cp bettercap to this location. And that is copied. As you can see, you don't get any errors. And in Linux, if you do not get any errors, it means the command got executed properly. So now that we have it, so if I do bettercap now from any location, if I hit enter, you will see it'll work. And now I can use bettercap like any other command that I want. So that's perfect. And this is another method of installing programs manually. And the last method that I want to show you for installing programs manually is from GitHub, because as we know, GitHub contains a lot of programs, and in these repositories, they usually also show you the instructions on how to install the program. So the program that I want to show you how to install is called the Harvester. It's a really cool information gathering program. So again, we're going to go to Google and we're going to look for the Harvester. So you can see the first result is actually from Kali, and the next one is their own official GitHub repository. If you scroll down, you will see again installation instructions. So they're giving you a link to that redirects you to the page that shows you the installation. This is a Python program, so they're showing you how to do it, and you have a number of options to install it. And what I want to go with is the third option right here. So you're going to have to first of all clone this repository using the git command. So we're going to copy this. And we're going to go back to our terminal. I'm going to close this bottom tab. I'm going to clear the screen. We're going to exit this. And we're going to go to OPT. Actually, I'm going to go back to being root because I will need to install more applications. And we're going to go to opt. This is a location in Linux that usually is used to store optional programs. So if we do ls in here, you'll see this is where Metasploit framework got already installed. So we're going to use the git command, and basically what this command will do, it'll clone the following repository that contains the harvester. So it'll basically download all the files needed for this program to work. So we're going to hit enter, and again, as you can see, we have a complaint that git does not exist, command does not exist. We already seen how to solve this. You simply have to install the application. We got this with curl. So we're just going to have to do apt-get install git and hit enter to install it. And perfect, that's installed. So we're going to clear the screen and run it again. And now, as you can see, the git command is working and it's downloading all the files that the harvester uses. So now if I do ls, you'll see we have a new directory now. So we already have the Metasploit framework, and the new directory we have is called the harvester. So let's open this directory and let's see what's the next step. The next step is to actually navigate into this directory using the cd command. So that's perfect. Now it's telling you, if you're a developer, run this command. If you're not a developer, then run this command. So we're not developers, so we're going to run this second command, and we're simply going to paste it here. And again, it's telling you Python 3, no module named pip. What do you do in this case? You try to go and install the program that is missing. So we're going to do apt-get install pip. And you will see we're actually going to get an error. I've already tried this and got the error. You can go on Google to see what the actual package name, or you can use apt-catch to look for the right package name. So the right package name is actually Python pip. And let's install the Python 3 pip as well, because Python 3 is the newest version of Python. We're going to hit enter to install it. Okay, and now that pip is installed, we can clear the screen and run the same command that we couldn't run initially. And as you can see, the command is running and installing all the needed packages. And let's see what's the next step while this is installing. That's it. The next step is simply just use the program, which is using Python 3, the harvester, and -h to just see what options you can use to get the help menu of the program. Okay, now that's installed, let's just run the program, and perfect. As you can see, the harvester is working, and we can go ahead and use it for information gathering, like I said. So this was our fourth example of manually installing programs. And like I said, there's probably other ways of installing programs. I simply cannot cover everything. But if you want to install a program, first of all, see if you can install it with apt-get. If you cannot, go to their official website. They'll probably have installation information. If they don't, look up on Google for other articles and you will probably see how to install it. It's as simple as that. You just need to read and follow the instructions. So now that we have all of these programs installed, like I said, this process can take you from hours to months, depending on how do you want to configure this hacking operating system. So now that I modified it and I configured it in the way that I want, let's assume that you added your icons, your theme, and configured other options. For example, maybe you want to log in as root. You can also do that. Look up how to do it and you'll see how to do it. So let's say you've done all of this. For now, I'm happy enough with what I made, with the changes that we made so far. And the next step is to export it so that we can import it anytime we want as a virtual machine, or even have it on USB sticks and CDs, and be able to boot in it with all of the changes that we made so far, which is really, really cool, because you won't have to do them every time you want to install your Linux operating system or your hacking operating system. The only problem now, if you export this, it's going to be pretty large because we've actually used the machine for a number of things. Also, it's going to contain the history, so all the browsing history, all of the commands that we ran so far in the terminal. It's going to contain all of the files that we downloaded in the downloads. And because we haven't made a lot of changes right now, this isn't really that important. But if you actually did properly modify your machine, you really need to clean up first before exporting it. You're gonna save so much storage and it'll just look so much cleaner. So you wanna first of all, for example, go to your downloads and just basically clean up everything there, because you can't really ship a Linux machine with its downloads. So you can do that from the command prompt, or you can simply just move it to trash and empty the trash. That's not the main step that I want to show you. The main thing that I want to show you is a program that will help you do all of that automatically, and it'll actually clean up so much stuff that will take you long to clean. So the program is called BleachBit. So first of all, we're going to have to install it using apt-get, as we have been doing. BleachBit. And once it's installed, you can run it by simply going to your activities, all programs, and look for BleachBit right here. And we're going to keep the settings the way they are. And as you can see here from the left, you can pick what you want to delete. So you can delete all of the apt cache, all of the files that apt generates. You can remove the terminal history. You can, so we're going to say okay to this, and this might take a bit of time, but that's fine. These are just warnings. You can remove the Firefox history and all of the data that it's been storing. So we're simply going to tick everything in here. And if you click on preview before you click on clean, it'll actually show you what it's going to delete and how much storage you're going to save. And you'll see with the simple modifications that I made so far, I am still gonna save 1.3 gigabytes by running this cleanup process. And like I said, if you modified a lot of stuff and then deleted, if you modified the operating system properly, you will save so much. When I created the custom Kali for my courses, the size of it was about 8 gigabytes when I was done, and then after the cleanup process it was brought all the way down to about 3, I think, right now. So it's going to save you so much storage, and that obviously is a lot of storage saved if you're uploading or downloading or putting it on a USB. So if you click on clean now, this will not really work because you are not root, and like I said, root is the only user that can basically do whatever it wants on the system. But the graphical user interface right now generated a config file, so we're going to use this config file with and then run the program from root, from the terminal, to run this process. So I'm going to close the program now. We haven't really done the cleaning part. We only configured the program. And to do the cleaning, you will need to first copy the file that was created, the configuration file. So the file would be stored in your home directory, in the user, and in the .config. The name of the program, which is BleachBit, and the name of the file, the configuration file, is bleachbit.ini, and you want to copy this to the root home config directory. So this is going to be in root.config bleachbit, and there is no directory called that, so we'll actually have to create it first. So we're just going to do make directory mkdir, and then we'll run the cp process. And that's all done because we didn't get any errors. So now let's go and run BleachBit from the terminal. And we're going to do --help to see all of the options that we can run it with. And as you can see, we can do the -p to preview the changes. So we're just going to do that first before committing to them, because like I said, this will delete files. So you want to make sure you're actually doing this properly and you're not deleting anything that you want. And we're going to do --preset to use the config file that we just placed in the config directory. So we're going to hit enter, and this is going to list all of the things that it's going to delete. And similar to what we've seen in the graphical interface, it's going to tell us how much you're going to be saving. So as you can see now, it's saying that it's going to save 1.01 gigabytes. Again, this is great. So we're going to commit to these changes by doing -c for cleanup instead of p. We're going to hit enter, and it'll actually go ahead and delete all of that. So it's going to delete our browser history, our terminal history, and all of the other things that we ticked in the graphical interface. Okay, perfect. So that is done now, and we are actually ready now to go ahead and export this machine because we installed all of the applications that we want. We configured it. In my example, I simply changed the background, but like I said, you can add menus, configure it to log in as root, do anything that you want really. Any changes that we've done so far will remain every time you import this machine or install it. So you won't have to do this ever again. So we're going to close the terminal and we're simply going to shut down this machine. So the next step now is to go ahead and export this machine with the changes that we made. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to export it as an OVA, which is a file format for virtual machines. And you can actually use this now, this virtual machine, to install it on any other computer, on any other virtualization software. And you will see the changes that you already made. Again, this is how Parrot OS and Kali distribute their VirtualBox images. So this is exactly how they do it. You can also create an ISO version of this Linux distro, but that will take a bit of time, and I think we're already definitely over half an hour of footage. So if I ever cover it, I'll cover it in a new video, but I will include resources for you guys to see how to do it. So to export this as a virtual machine, all you have to do is simply select the virtual machine that you want, go on File and select Export Appliance. It's going to show you this really nice wizard where you can configure the name, the product, the version, all that kind of stuff. We're going to keep everything the same. We're simply just going to click on Export. And this could take a bit of time, but the end result, like I said, will be a file that you can use to import a virtual machine that already has all of the changes that you made so far. Okay, so that's all done, and I should actually have it in my documents. And as you can see, we have it right here, snowyowl.ova. So if you give this file to anybody that has VirtualBox or any other virtualization software that can work with OVA files, all they have to do is simply double click this file and your custom hacking operating system will be installed on their VirtualBox, on their virtualization software, and they will be able to use the Linux distro that you just created with all of the changes that you made, with all of the packages and programs that you installed. Let me show you. So I have VirtualBox already open, and I'm gonna right click and remove the image that we installed right now. So we're gonna delete all files. That image is gone now. And what we're gonna do is we have the documents here, we have the file that we just created, Snowy Owl. Simply we're gonna double click it. It's gonna ask you, as you can see, as if we're importing a new virtual machine. And keep in mind the settings that you set for that machine will also be imported. So remember when I gave it 4 GB of RAM, it's still gonna be imported with 4 GB of RAM. So we're gonna click on import to import it. Give it its time. While we're waiting on this, guys, this video took me more than an hour to record already, so I would really appreciate it if you smash the like button and show us some love. This will help with the YouTube algorithm and show the video to more interested people. So this is now imported and installed, and all we have to do is just click on the start button. As you can see, it's already booting into the Debian that we installed with the same grub. And again, it's coming with the same username, so that's another thing. Remember the way how Kali always tell you the default username and password? It's root and tour, or Kali and Kali. So this is very similar. We created a custom hacking operating system, but it already comes with its own username. So when you're distributing this to people, you have to give them the username and the password that you picked. So the username, as you can see, is still Zaid, and the password is whatever password I picked. And perfect, as you can see now we're logged in, and you can instantly know that all of our settings are there because you can see the background that we selected is already there. Now, if we go to the activity and look at the dock, you can see the dock is configured the way we want it. So we have our Terminator and Burp Suite here on the left. Like I said, you can configure this any way you want. And then in here, again, let's just run up the terminal and let's just check that the programs that we installed are there. Some of them anyway. So let's do aircrack ng to see if it's there. And it is there. Let's check for BetterCap. And BetterCap is there. Let's list what's in the OPT. And again, as you can see, we have the Metasploit framework and the harvester. And if we look at the terminal history, you will see that we don't have the previous commands because we properly cleaned up after us. So even if you go and open up Firefox and all that, or the temp directory, you'll see that they are empty. They do not contain any information because we cleaned up properly before exporting this image. Like I said, what I showed you right now is exporting it as a virtual machine. You could still convert this to an ISO that can be installed on CDs and USBs and then installed as a main operating system, not as a virtual machine. Doing that will probably take another video. Let me know if you want me to make a video on it, but I will include the resources that will help you with it. So check out the description. I hope you found this useful, and I'm sorry for the long video. I know this took a while, but I tried to condense it as much as possible, but this is a big juicy topic, and like I said, I could actually make a full course on it. And again, I'm sorry if I didn't cover everything and if I missed stuff, because like I said, it's a big topic. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to show us your love. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to stay updated with the latest in cybersecurity, and see you in the next competition.